everyone, welcome to this deep dive, and we are tackling IT management. You've given us some very fascinating stuff to work with this time, some in-depth lecture notes, and this academic paper. It's called Introduction to IT. So where do we even begin with all this?
Well, I think our mission here is to really help you make sense of it all. You know, it's more than just defining what IT is. We're going to uncover how its role has evolved, how it's become so intertwined with business strategy, and why knowing how to manage it is just so crucial in today's world.
It's almost like we're going to time travel a bit
Yeah.
from those massive computers that took up entire rooms all the way to the tech we're all carrying around in our pockets right now.
Oh,
Okay, I'm already intrigued.
let's rewind way back to the beginning, the mainframe era. Picture these room-sized computers, used mainly by the government and military. Businesses were just starting to use them, mostly for things like automating financial tasks, basic number crunching.
So IT was still in its infancy then, not exactly a major player.
Right, totally different from today. Then came the PC revolution. That totally changed the game. Computers became smaller, more affordable, suddenly accessible to all sorts of businesses.
Okay, so no more one computer per building. What kind of impact did that have?
A massive impact, more interaction between the business folks and the IT folks.
Yeah.
Networks started popping up, email became a thing, the internet, as we know it, began to take shape. It was a really exciting time. Lots of advancement, but also lots of growing pains. Everyone was trying to wrap their heads around this new technology.
Well, like drinking from a fire hose.
And
But things didn't stop there, did they?
not even close. Fast forward to the pervasive computing era is a whole new ballgame. Smartphones, tablets, wearable tech, internet everywhere you look.
It's practically part of the air we breathe now.
Exactly. Not just confined to some IT department. IT is woven into every part of our lives now, every aspect of business and society.
So what does all this mean for businesses? How has this tech revolution actually impacted them?
The biggest shift is that IT went from a tool, from just automating things to a crucial piece of business strategy. It's not just about keeping the lights on anymore. It's about using tech to gain a competitive advantage.
I see in your notes you mentioned three main strategies: cost leadership, product differentiation, and product focus. I'm guessing that's where all this comes in.
Exactly. Let's look at cost leadership. Businesses using IT to become the lowest cost producer. Think about automating tasks to reduce labor costs, or using data analytics to streamline the supply chain, or optimize inventory management.
So basically using IT to do things more efficiently and cheaply than your rivals.
Right. Then there's product differentiation, using IT to create unique products or services, something your competitors just don't have.
Like developing that killer app
Yeah.
or crafting personalized customer experiences online.
Exactly. And then there's product focus, zeroing in on a very specific market and serving it better than anyone else. So think specialized software for that niche, or targeted marketing campaigns, maybe creating a customized online experience for them.
Dominating a particular slice of the market. It all sounds great in theory, but how do companies actually put these strategies into practice?
That's where IT management comes in. And it's much more than just keeping the computers running. It demands a strategic mindset. You need a deep understanding of how to use IT to achieve specific business goals.
You've broken it down into three categories in your notes: strategic, tactical, and operational.
Absolutely. Strategic IT management is all about the big picture, aligning IT initiatives with the overall business strategy, making those crucial long-term decisions about investments. Think of it as the CEO of IT.
Okay, the one calling the shots.
Yeah.
What about tactical management?
It's more about taking those strategic goals and translating them into concrete plans, allocating resources, setting timelines, and ensuring projects are delivered on time and within budget. It's like the project manager, the one who makes sure everything's running smoothly.
And finally, operational management.
That's the day-to-day, boots-on-the-ground stuff, keeping those systems up and running, providing technical support, making sure all that data is secure.
So three levels all working together.
And here's the thing. Successful IT management requires such a diverse skill set. You need financial management skills, human resource management, relationship management, legal issues, marketing, negotiation, and of course, leadership skills.
It's quite a list.
It is, and that's why effective IT managers are so valuable. They bridge the gap between technology and business. They make sure those IT investments actually deliver value.
Speaking of bridging the gap, you mentioned IT business alignment. What's that all about?
It's crucial. IT and business goals have to be on the same page. If they're not aligned, IT can actually become a roadblock, holding the business back instead of moving it forward.
Like having a powerful engine but steering in the wrong direction.
Exactly. When IT is aligned with the business, that's when the magic happens. IT becomes a catalyst for innovation, it boosts efficiency, and opens up new opportunities for growth.
We've covered a lot already. We've talked about the evolution of IT, its strategic role in business, the importance of effective management. But what about the internet? It must have been a game changer.
Absolutely. The internet was the spark that ignited e-business. This is where IT becomes even more outward facing. It's no longer just about internal operations. It's about connecting with customers and suppliers and partners all over the globe.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. Your notes mention four key mediations that the internet enabled: disintermediation, reintermediation, hypermediation, and infomediation.
Yes, important concepts to understand. Let's start with disintermediation, basically cutting out the middleman. Think about buying a product directly from the manufacturer online. Instead of going to a traditional retail store,
Like how Tesla sells cars directly to consumers, no dealerships involved.
exactly. It forces businesses to really focus on differentiating themselves. They have to offer great service and customer experience to stay competitive.
Then there's reintermediation, the internet creating new ways for buyers and sellers to connect, like online marketplaces like eBay or Etsy.
Right, and this brings more transparency, more negotiation around prices and warranties and even shipping, reshaping entire industries. Think about financial services, banking, and insurance. All those services are merging online, all thanks to re-intermediation.
So the internet isn't just a tool, it's creating entirely new business models.
Oh.
Amazing. And then hypermediation, creating seamless interactions in supply chains, often with outside partners.
Right, a complex online ecosystem where multiple businesses are collaborating to deliver a product or service. Like when you order a ride-sharing service, you're interacting with a platform that connects drivers and passengers, payment systems, mapping services, all integrated seamlessly in the background.
A digital orchestra with lots of different players. What about information?
That one's all about managing and sifting through all that information available online. Search engines, portals, data mining tools, all helping businesses make sense of this data overload.
Like having a super-powered research assistant in the digital age.
Precisely. These four mediations really highlight how the internet has completely transformed how businesses operate and interact with the world.
It's mind-blowing how much has changed in such a short time.
Absolutely. And the pace of change is only accelerating. And speaking of change, one of the key takeaways is how IT acts as a change agent.
You mentioned dynamic stability in your notes. What does that even mean?
Well, it's the idea that IT can help businesses adapt to change without disrupting their core processes. IT lets them experiment with new ideas, launch new products and services, respond to changing market conditions without falling apart.
Being agile and responsive in a world that's constantly changing.
Exactly. And IT can enable both incremental changes, those small step-by-step improvements, and radical changes, those major leaps forward that completely transform a business.
So IT can help a company stay ahead of the curve.
Precisely, IT fuels innovation. And when you combine that with globalization, things get really interesting.
Speaking of which, how has IT helped businesses expand their reach globally?
IT infrastructure and technologies allow businesses to operate seamlessly across geographical boundaries. Think virtual teams working from different continents, connecting with customers worldwide, managing those global supply chains.
So IT allows companies to be truly global, not just limited by where their offices are.
Exactly. But managing IT in a globalized environment definitely comes with its own unique set of challenges.
Like what?
Well, you have to consider different languages and cultures, time zones and legal frameworks. Data privacy and security become way more complex.
It's not just about the technology then. It's about understanding the human and regulatory side of things as well.
Absolutely. Managing global IT requires a really nuanced approach and a deep understanding of all the complexities involved. But the rewards can be huge.
Okay, so we've talked about how IT can save money, create unique products, target specific markets, power e-business, foster change, and facilitate globalization. That's quite a resume.
Yeah.
But how do we actually measure the value of IT? It must be tricky to put a number on its impact.
You're right. Measuring the return on investment, or ROI, of IT can definitely be a challenge. IT is so intertwined with other business functions that it's tough to isolate its specific contribution.
So how can businesses even begin to assess whether their IT investments are paying off?
There are all kinds of frameworks and methodologies out there. One approach is to look at key performance indicators, or KPIs, that are directly influenced by IT. For instance, if a company implements a new customer relationship management system and it leads to a big increase in sales conversions, that would be a pretty clear indicator that the IT investment is having a positive impact.
So basically, if we can tie specific improvements back to IT initiatives.
Exactly. Other KPIs could be things like improved customer satisfaction scores, reduced operational costs, faster product development cycles, increased employee productivity. It's about looking for measurable results. That can be attributed to IT.
But it can't all be about numbers, right?
Right, you are. Measuring IT value also involves assessing some of the less tangible benefits, things like improved decision-making,
Hmm.
enhanced collaboration, greater organizational agility.
Definitely harder to quantify.
Absolutely. There's this model, Luftman's 6 components of IT maturity. It helps businesses evaluate how well they're leveraging IT.
Okay, so what are those 6 components, and how can they help businesses get the most out of their IT investments?
That's a great question. Why don't we delve into that after a quick break? We'll be right back to unpack Luftman's model and discuss how businesses can maximize their IT maturity. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about measuring the value of IT investments, which is tougher than it sounds.
And you were just about to explain Luftman's 6 components of IT maturity. Sounds pretty complex.
It is a comprehensive model.
Right.
We can break it down. The first component is communications maturity.
How well IT communicates with the rest of the business.
Exactly. It's about clear, consistent messaging, transparency around projects and initiatives, and having open channels for feedback and collaboration.
So making sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
Breaking down those silos between IT and other departments. Okay, what's next?
Next is competency or value measurement maturity. This one is about having clear metrics to track IT performance and demonstrate its value.
Moving beyond gut feelings. Using data to actually show IT's impact.
Exactly. Like we were talking about earlier, those KPIs, defining them, collecting data, and analyzing the results to see where things can be improved.
Makes sense. Then there's governance maturity. That sounds like rules and regulations.
You could say that. It's about having clear policies and procedures in place for managing IT resources, making sure you comply with regulations, and mitigating risk.
A strong framework to make sure IT operates well. Okay, what's the fourth component?
Partnership maturity, focusing on building strong relationships with external partners, like vendors and consultants, even customers.
The collaboration piece.
Right. IT doesn't operate in a vacuum. Effective communication, shared goals, a willingness to collaborate for mutual benefit.
Got it. And the technical one. Scope and architecture maturity.
This one's about having a well-defined IT architecture, one that aligns with business needs and can support future growth. It involves careful planning, standardizing systems and processes, focusing on scalability and flexibility.
Making sure your IT infrastructure can handle today's demands and stay flexible for future challenges.
Precisely. And last but definitely not least, we have skills maturity.
Sounds pretty self-explanatory. Making sure your IT team has the right skills and expertise.
You got it. Continuous learning, professional development, fostering a culture of innovation on the IT team.
So investing in the people who make IT happen and making sure they have the tools and knowledge to stay ahead.
Precisely. By focusing on these 6 components of IT maturity, businesses can really get the most from their IT investments and ensure IT is a strategic driver of success.
That's a really helpful framework. It's clear that IT is complex, especially in today's world.
It is. And with technology always evolving, it's so important to think about the human side of things, too.
That's a great point. We've talked a lot about the technology. But what about the people who design and build and manage these systems?
Technology is only as good as the people behind it. We need to invest in developing talent and fostering creativity and create work environments where people feel valued and empowered.
What about all the talk about automation replacing jobs? Won't robots and AI take over?
It's true that automation is changing the nature of work, but it's not necessarily a zero-sum game. Some jobs may be displaced, but new ones will emerge. And the skills that will be most valuable are those uniquely human skills.
Like what kinds of skills?
Things like critical thinking and complex problem solving, creativity, emotional intelligence, and the ability to really collaborate with others. These are what set humans apart from machines.
So it's not humans versus machines. It's about humans and machines working together.
Exactly. And this is where education is so important. We need to give people the skills they need to succeed in this new world, this hybrid world where humans and machines work together.
Rethinking education. Preparing people for jobs that don't even exist yet.
Absolutely. We need to move away from the old model, where you acquire knowledge once and you're done. We need to embrace lifelong learning.
So learning isn't just in the classroom, it's an ongoing process.
Exactly. This applies to everyone, from students to professionals to retirees. We all need to constantly be learning, adapting, and evolving to keep up with these rapid advancements in technology.
That's exciting and a little daunting, to be honest.
It is, but humans have this incredible capacity for innovation and adaptation. I'm optimistic that we can harness technology to create a brighter future for everyone.
I like your optimism. Let's get practical for a second. What steps can people take to enhance their IT skills, to stay relevant in this job market?
That's a great question, and one we should definitely explore further. But first, let's take a quick pause and come back with some advice. For anyone looking to improve their tech skills, be right back.
Okay, we're back. Ready to talk practical tips for anyone out there looking to level up their IT skills and try to stay ahead in this crazy, fast-moving tech world.
It can feel overwhelming, I know, but it really doesn't have to be. I think the first step is to really figure out what you like. Where your interests and strengths lie. Are you drawn to coding, data analytics, cybersecurity, cloud computing, something else entirely?
So it's kind of like finding your IT superpower.
Exactly. Once you have some sort of direction, there are so many amazing learning platforms online. Coursera, Udemy, EDX, Khan Academy, so many more.
Oh, there's so many choices. It's almost paralyzing.
I know what you mean, but the good news is there's something out there for everyone. And a lot of these platforms even have free introductory courses, so you can kind of test the waters before you commit.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so say I've found a course that looks interesting. What's next?
Well, I think it's important to set realistic goals for yourself. Don't try to learn everything all at once. Start small, build a strong foundation, and gradually expand your knowledge.
It's like building a house, right?
Yeah.
Start with that solid foundation, then add on rooms one at a time.
I like that analogy. And remember, practice makes perfect. The best way to learn is by doing. Apply what you learn through hands-on projects or coding challenges, even by volunteering your skills at a nonprofit.
That's a great way to get some real-world experience.
Exactly. Another thing that is so crucial is networking. Attend industry events, join online communities, connect with people on LinkedIn.
So build relationships and learn from those already out there.
You got it. You just never know where your next opportunity will come from. So cast a wide net and be open to those new connections.
Makes sense. What about certifications? Are they worth it?
Well, it depends on your field and your career goals. Some industries put a lot of value on certifications, others put more emphasis on experience.
Well, do your homework. See what's important in your area.
Exactly. Certifications can be a great way to show your dedication to professional development, validate your skills to potential employers.
A badge of honor.
You could say that. And finally, never underestimate soft skills.
You mean things like communication, teamwork, problem solving.
Exactly. In today's collaborative work world, these skills are more crucial than ever.
So it's not just about the tech. It's about communication, teamwork, adapting to new situations.
Absolutely. Technical skills might get you in the door, but soft skills will make you shine.
This has been a really amazing deep dive. We covered a lot of ground, from the history of IT to the impact of the internet, and some practical advice for anyone navigating this tech world.
It has been a fascinating conversation, and it really underscores how vital IT is these days. No longer just a back office function, it's a driving force behind innovation and business, and really global change.
Absolutely. So what's one key takeaway our listeners should keep in mind?
Embrace change, never stop learning, and always be looking for ways to make a difference with your skills. The future of IT is incredibly exciting. So many opportunities for those willing to adapt and evolve.
Well said.
Okay.
That wraps up our deep dive into IT management. Thanks for joining us.